Andy, what's it like to be on a new job, and I guess what's the most important thing when you evaluate players and recruits on film? What are you ultimately looking for?
Well, I'm excited to be here. I came here for Coach Diaz just because of his vision for this place. The opportunity to work for him. We've worked together before at Middle Tennessee State. We both bounced around, and the opportunity came up, so it's one I jumped on. And then just being at a place that has the national championship tradition and the opportunities that Miami provides is second to none. So those two things made it very enticing for me, so that's what makes it exciting. For us in recruiting, the second part of your question, really what we're looking for is guys that can translate his vision of what a Miami Hurricane should be over to the field. So the passion for the game of football, the willingness and ability to compete, the toughness, all those things that he talks about created Miami and those great players that came through here. We're looking at those things probably just as much or more in the actual ability for football. Obviously we want guys that can play the position and do those different things, and it varies by coach to coach, but those are the main things that we're going to look for is competitiveness, toughness, passion, how much does he love playing football. It takes a different kind of guy to be successful here. It's been proven out through the past, and if we can find a guy that has those qualities, I think we're going to be all right.
You've only been here a short time, but what are your impressions of recruiting for Miami and how it's different than other places you've been?
Not many places I've been, you're going to have multiple 5-stars just pop in every day for practice. Everywhere else I've been, it's kind of been you got to find those guys and then talk them into coming to campus. You could probably walk out here on the street, throw a rock, and hit a couple of them. So that's the best thing about this place, or one of the best things about this place, is just the quality of talent that's nearby, that's in this area. So that makes it a little bit easier. But everybody comes down here to recruit because everybody in the country knows that. So we're going to have to fight a lot more battles than maybe other schools would because this is our home turf. We've got to protect it. Everybody knows this is where the players are. So those kids are going to get hit up a lot more than anybody else. So you can't hide them. So we just have to build those relationships, cultivate those relationships with the coaching staff, make them feel comfortable here, and make them realize that you don't have to go somewhere else to represent somebody else's city when you can stay home and do that here. Great college education, great football. You can do all those things in Miami. You don't need to leave.
I know you just started on the job. Sure. You've only been here for a little bit, but the previous staff, and I think Manny's mentioned this, that they plan to continue that Paradise Camp. Do you guys have any idea when you guys are going to do that? I know the calendar shifted around, the Florida game got moved, so is there...
Yeah, we'll probably have to do that. We're still working through the details on that. We actually have some meetings today on that. It's going to be in June. I don't have an exact date for you, but it'll be later in June, which should help us out. I know in the past, they want to have a lot of former players here, so having it a little earlier in the season may help us with that. Training camp hasn't started yet, so that's probably one of the benefits, just from the fact that we're going to play our first game a little bit earlier this year, so we had to move everything back a little bit.
You're having enormous success getting kids from the West Coast and other parts of the country to come in here this spring. Talk a little bit about the recruiting philosophy, how you're trying to, it looks like you're trying to expand a little bit beyond just South Florida.
And I think that's just because Miami's Miami, right? It's a household name. When you see the U, everybody in the country knows what it is, whether you're in Southern California, Northern California, or you're in Washington or New York, you know what it is. But Coach Diaz's vision is that we own the state of Florida. We're going to own from Miami up. We want to do our best to find those players in Florida that can help us win the national championship and the conference championship. We're going to do that, and then if there's elite players that are interested in Miami, have a tie to Miami, that we feel can help us on that mission, we're going to go recruit those guys as well. So we're not scared to go fight those battles, but we want to make our living in Florida first.
So a couple more questions. Maybe the way some of the responsibilities are divided up between you and David Cooney and everybody else that got in that recruiting staff.
Yeah, David Cooney, Marcus Van Dyke, DVD, Edwin Pata, those guys are big in our recruiting office as far as relationships go. They know this area better than I'm going to know it coming in, just new from out of town. They've got those relationships with the high school coaches, with the families, with the kids that are in this area, from youth leagues on up to high schools. So they're invaluable as far as helping us build those relationships, cultivate those relationships, communicating for us, helping get those guys on campus. So they're a big part of what we do in that aspect. So.
Obviously
Last
the
question.
transfer portal has been so big for this program.
Right.
What's your approach to it? Are you one of these guys that are you checking it multiple times a day? Do you have others checking it multiple times a day? How's that working
It's a group effort. I mean, we have to keep an eye on that. It's a big benefit, but you have to do your homework. We're going to be very thorough and intentional about what we do in everything in recruiting, but especially the portal. I think it can be a really good thing if you manage it the right way. And so as long as we do our homework, research that, make sure, again, going back to the first question, that those guys fit the Miami profile, what a Hurricane should be. As long as we figure those things out early in the process, and I think it can be a really valuable thing for us.
Is it just like literally you have to pop in and check a couple times a day?
Yeah, I mean, if you follow social media, that stuff pops up all the time now. I mean, some of these websites have trackers and all that stuff, so it makes it a little bit easier now. But yeah, I mean, we're on there every day, but we know what we want.
Right.
We're not just scouring it every day. We know what we're looking for, positions of need that we have. So yeah, I think it could be a really beneficial thing for us.
How about that new rule that's being proposed as it pertains to the portal? Have you seen that new rule where you might be docked scholarships
I have
if
not.
guys don't graduate?
I don't know enough about that rule to talk about that, but